one of the questions that I get asked a lot about when it comes to people who are leaving toxic relationships is, how do I forgive myself? How do I forgive myself for not leaving sooner? How do I forgive myself for tolerating so much in this relationship? This next question is from Facebook. One of the group members submitted this. How do you forgive yourself for being with a narcissistic, alcoholic, emotional, and verbal abuser for too long? She says 13 years here. I'm trying to love myself more now that he's gone, but deep down I hate myself for not letting go years sooner. I'm a true, genuine sweetheart, but I feel like a fool now. So thank you to whoever submitted this question. And you absolutely do sound like a sweetheart. And I'm so sorry that you experienced a relationship like this. I first want to acknowledge how much healing it actually takes for you to get to the point where you're looking back at yourself and seeing, oh my gosh, I should not have been in this relationship. I stayed way too long. That takes a tremendous amount of healing. So I just want to give you so much credit for that. I want to validate you for that, and I want to honor you for that. I'm sure that when you were in that relationship, you were not able to see that clearly. So it takes a good amount of healing to get to that point where you can have that perspective, that distance, and see where you could have done things differently in the past. So again, I want to give you so much credit for that. You probably were not at that point when you were with this person because you already would have been able to leave then. And I hope this makes sense. Like, we're only able to leave when we're ready to leave. And it's so easy to look back on ourselves and go, oh, like I should have left there. Here's where I should have left. But the reality is we were not ready to at that time. We didn't know what we know now. We couldn't see from the perspective that we have now. There's so many different dynamics that keep us in these relationships. Maybe we were conditioned that this behavior was normal. Perhaps, I know you said that this person was narcissistic and alcoholic. Perhaps one of our parents were narcissistic. Maybe the other parent was an alcoholic. And so this dynamic was familiar. And so that's why we got into that relationship. There's so many things that contribute to this and a lot of them are not our fault. It is not our fault, like the family that we are born into. So we really can't control a lot of these things. And again, it's easy to look back and then beat ourselves up. But in most cases, we just didn't know what we didn't know. And a lot of this stuff is not our fault. So what I tell my clients very often when this comes up is that we were only doing the best that we could in each and every moment. So again, it's easy to look back on what we did in the past and see where we could have done things different. But in that moment, we were actually doing the very best that we could. Maybe we thought that things were going to change. Maybe we thought that our love for this person was going to be enough to make them go on their own healing journey or fix them. Whatever we believed at that point, that's where we were. And so that's a little bit of the conscious level to address this. We're going to go a little bit deeper here because often we can know these things on the conscious level, but deeper down there's something more going on here. So I want to walk you through a quick little exercise here that gets a little bit deeper, gets to the subconscious layer of what's going on here. So I want you to close your eyes and I want you to bring up that part of you that is hating yourself, the part of you that's just judging yourself so harshly and that's feeling a lot of hatred towards you in the past. So I want you to bring that image up and I want you to picture that as a small child. So I'm going to just wait a second here. And usually when this image comes up of a small child, you'll see that this is a small child who is in pain. This child is scared. This child is hurting. And this is a part of what we would call your inner child that just needs some love and needs some attention. So as this image of this child comes up, we're going to talk to it today. This child most likely is feeling shame, it's feeling judged, It's just in pain and it needs our help. It really needs some reparenting. So that's what we're going to do very quickly here today. So when you go through this exercise on your own, you can say whatever you feel that this little child part of you needs to hear. So I have some things to say to this child today, but when you're doing this on your own, whatever feels appropriate for this part of you to hear is what you're going to say to this child. So something that I would like to say to this part of you today is, I see that you're hurting. I see that you're feeling ashamed, you feel like a fool, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You are not a fool for loving someone. You are a loving, courageous person. You did the best that you could at that time. You weren't ready to leave until you were, and that is okay. I love you no matter what. And so these are the kind of things that you can say to this part of you that is being so hard on yourself. You can continue to do this exercise like this. It's really just a brief inner child meditation. Whenever you feel that harshness coming up, whenever you feel that part of you that's just judging yourself or blaming yourself for this. And slowly, when you continue to do this, it will decrease. If you do need more support, which most of us do, please do reach out for help for this. You can reach out to me, you can reach out to another professional. You don't have to do this on your own. You can move forward and you don't have to be stuck in this pattern of just blaming yourself. Very often there's a lot more going on subconsciously. That's part of the work that I do in my 12-week healing program. So there's many solutions out there that can help you to move on from this. If you're also having a hard time moving on after a toxic relationship and forgiving yourself, I think you'll find this video helpful on how to love yourself after a toxic relationship. Click here to subscribe. I come out with new videos on these sorts of topics every Tuesday.